Let's go generate some syslog messages. How do I do that? Let's go on to router B. I'll SSH to 10.100.0.2. And we're going to create some events on router B. One of the events we can create is we can actually just go into config mode and exit. And if we go into config mode and exit, that will generate a syslog message. And if you noticed right there, it popped up with a syslog message right on above in my messages here. It says, hey, 10.100.0.2 sent a message in at 18:11:34, which is UTC time, the Universal Coordinated Time value there. And it's telling me who configured the router at that point. We can create other events. If I go to config T and I say int f01 and I say shutdown, that will also create an event on the router, and then we get that log message in our syslog server saying right here, interface fast Ethernet 0/1 changed state to administratively down. If I do a no shut, we're also going to get a message showing now that the interface changed state back to up eventually. Right now, since I'm SSH'd into my router, I'm not actually seeing the messages come back. So what I can do is I can say terminal monitor, and what that'll do is any log messages that show up in my syslog will also show up on my router here. So let's do a show run of int f01, and right now there's some weird IP address on there that we're not using. So it looks like f01 isn't actually connected to anything. So let's do the same thing with interface fast Ethernet 00 and see what happens. We're going to do shutdown on that interface. Let's move this down a little bit. And there we go. We get interface fast Ethernet 00 changed state to administratively down. Line protocol at interface 00 changed state to down. If we go back to our router, we'll see that we got those same exact two messages here. So as we go through the router, we can do shuts and no shuts. And as we bring interfaces up and down, it's going to generate log messages on the router, and those log messages get sent to our syslog server. Let's try the same thing from router A and see what happens. So I'm going to SSH into router A at 10.100.0.1. We're going to do terminal monitor again so we can see those messages. We'll go to config T and exit and see what happens. That'll definitely generate a message saying that, hey, I configured the router. And it actually looks like in this case, the source address did report correctly from the router. So notice that the host name here, 10.100.0.1, that is the address that I told the router to send the traffic from. We can generate more log messages here. Let's go back to 10.0.0.1. One of the things I can do here is I can go into config T, interface S000, which connects me to the rest of the world. I can do a shutdown there. That'll cause an OSPF event. It'll cause a neighbor down event. It'll cause all kinds of events. And all those should get reported to our syslog server. And if we do look at that, we do see that there is an OSPF change, our serial interface changed, and it gave us more information about that. So the syslog server is a really great device that we can use to have a central location where we can look and examine all of the log messages coming in from all of our devices all of the time. Now we know how to set up the clock, NTP, and syslog. These are going to be very valuable features as we work through the rest of the course. So let's wrap up this module and move on to some other pieces of application layer protocols so that we can understand how DNS and DHCP work.